Hello everybody, my name is Squiddly and welcome back to the FRS Season 6 Championship. We're here in the very sunny Austin, Texas for the American Grand Prix. Here in the Circuit of the Americas, a very long track at 5.5 kilometers and 20 turns, two very long DRS zones. Lots of chances for overtakes there, and as you can see there, a lot of elevation changes. Very tricky for the drivers to brake at the correct moment. Little tidbit there from our resident fact checker: the winner of the FRS has very rarely won in Austin, so it's kind of a boogie track for our eventual winners. But turn 1 is our first action zone. It's an uphill braking zone. You brake much less than you'd expect, and it's definitely a danger zone for the start of the race, where people will have cold tires and they will misjudge your braking points. Turn 12, a bit less tricky than turn 1, again at the end of a DRS straight, but it's a bit of a downhill braking zone there, and it'll be very interesting to see how the drivers do there. Our tires for this evening, the usual soft, medium, hard, but of course we want to know how long they last for. Softs for 16, softs for 8, medium for 16, and hards for 21. That will mean that the strategy is more than likely a medium to hard tire strategy. Here is our championship. Now, this has actually changed a lot since last week, because Gali and Dr. Zados have both been moved up to Division 2, leaving Blackbird as our provisionally P1 driver, and it'd be very interesting to see how it shakes down without those two drivers leading off into the distance. So, those are the stats. Let's get right into the action. And here we go. So, apologies, I need to unmute my co-commentator. And here we are. Hello, Space Ghost. How are you?
Good evening. I'm doing very well, my squid-based friend. Rumor on the street is we might be seeing some dampness at some point.
Ooh. I don't believe we've had a wet race on this round in Austin yet.
No, but in classic Codemasters fashion, it's one of those: look at the top level and there is possibly rain, look at the blocks and there is none. So that will have to just sort of be watched, I think.
Let's get the track map out for everyone.
Let's turn down the game for me so I can actually hear anything.
There we go.
Obviously very well prepared every time here.
I'm having all of the comments duplicate on Twitch right now, and it's great for reading
glorious.
the chat.
Madster P13 should be your first car hot.
First car hot, thank you. And yep, he just comes across the line there.
I mean, first car if you want to follow it, because I think we actually missed the car starting in the
yes.
in the melee.
I was a bit too late on the intro.
Good, all good.
Here we go. First driver on the broadcast at least, as Aniglo sets the time to beat, and Rumbarth immediately beats it. But, ooh, that's very nicely true. The SDR 25.7. That's a purple Sector 1 by the Ferrari driver.
You should be seeing Chimmy and Blackbird setting some times now, so Chimmy's dropping in as the slowest driver to set a time yet. Blackbird jumps into P3, and we'll be looking at D Lee coming around the corner next, and then I've got to try and work out what those blues are. I think it'll be the Alpines. No, it's not the Alpines, it's the other ones, it's the Williams. It's going to be Sengji and Erbil crossing the line now.
Let's go. Ooh, a 333. Very satisfying number there. Rumrat's still in P1 for the moment. 103.8 so far, as Massa comes into the final sector. Now, with our top two drivers being pushed into a higher division, what do you expect to happen in not just today's race, but just going forward? Do you think Blackbird will be able to hold on to that P1, or do you see more of a fight coming from Adsta and Patna now that the top two contenders?
It's interesting, isn't it? Because we've got a couple of drivers who, let's just say, are quick but inconsistent in people like Madster. Hackman obviously missed that first race, so I wouldn't count him out at all. And he's only a few points behind Blackbird for missing a round. So how many dropped rounds do we have in this division? Actually, that's going to be two dropped. So maybe Madster will be able to recover some of those, let's say, spinalas with those rounds being dropped out. But we'll see. If he's improved his consistency over last season, then I'll be honest, I don't think anything can take it away from him. But this game's thrown up a lot of interesting things. Lots of people struggling with it.
Yeah, especially in Kota, it's a very tricky track. Like we saw yesterday in Div 4, a lot of track limits penalties being given out. I expect similar here. Honest. As Tez has invalidated, and I think he's about to go again. He seems to be warming up his tires. Yeah, so let's go on board here with the McLaren driver as we cross the line to start another flying lap. Now, I've been told here by Captain Coral that Rumrat has a 32.8 in time trial, which is very much, like Div 2, even Div 1 pace, I would say. So that's a very...
Time trial's one thing, though.
Yes, they're very different conditions to a race.
Yeah, I think one of the key things I learnt yesterday, unfortunately far too late to improve my lap time, was that you've kind of actually got to go a little bit slower than you might anticipate on your outlap. Otherwise, by the time you're getting through that long right-hander in Sector 3, your rear left's sort of starting to overheat and you have to sort of back out a little bit.
There is, I believe...
Do you not believe Ivory's?
No. I think Peter Ward is taking his place, hoping for a bit of redemption after getting... having an unfortunate race, let's say, in Division 4 yesterday evening.
Yeah. Thoughts and prayers with him. See if we can have just from that slightly chastening experience.
Oh, that's very close to an invalidation by Tez. I'm surprised he didn't get any.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that would give you a track limits warning in the race, but still green on the map. The other one that I've noticed that's much more friendly this season is as we go around this right-hander, the next left-hander Tez is coming up to, that penultimate corner. It's much stricter on the inside in 2022, but it's much friendlier on the outside, and if you go wide there, you don't have to worry too much.
It seems like a lot of the inside corners are very strict this time around.
As
it comes across the line and goes P3. Very nicely done for invalidating his first lap. It's very nice to see him there. Peter Ward is, I think, coming through on his hot lap as well. Let's see where he can place himself with a division of, you would think, faster drivers. In theory, faster drivers. But he does have a lot of pace in Division 4. Let's see if he can show that here. Oh, and he takes the P3 spot from Tez. What's that, 0.05 of a second? Very close there.
Yeah, he's improved since yesterday. That's a full half second quicker than his time yesterday in Division 4. Obviously, it's slightly different conditions.
Rumrat is just about on that P1 spot, but he is... Oh, he's down on his own time. You're being roasted here in the chat, Space Ghost.
I mean, I could probably have done Kota on the pad and been significantly slower still. I actually feel like, because of the S's, even though my pace generally on wheel is still slower than the pad, I am quicker here on the wheel than I am on the pad. Austria might be a different story.
Rumrat has knocked nearly 2/10 off his time now. That could give him a nice, considerable gap at the top of the table. We have an Aston there, or sorry, an Alpine has pulled over to the side of the road for him. Ooh, we got very close to that curve there. A bit of a death curve, as we found out yesterday evening as well.
Alpine is actually on pole position pace as we go through the end of Sector 2, start Sector 3.
We'll just see where Rumrat has put himself here. Oh, 134.0.
Flipping heck, that's no longer pole position pace for Pathman unless he can find another half second in this final sector.
He invalidates on the inside of the last corner, or penultimate corner. Corner?
There's a quick lap in there somewhere.
There is. He definitely has the pace this evening.
We've got Madster hot as well. He's about a tenth up on his previous time.
Sanjay as well is 2/10 up on his time. He comes down into sector 2. He might get a bit hindered by the Ferrari down his back straight. I think that is Madster, isn't it?
Easy, just a little bit further down the road, is half a second up on his previous time. I'll be looking to put him firmly in the midfield, just coming around through the last sector now.
Let's see where. Oh, that's very close to invalidation. Surprised it wasn't. He's 3.5 tenths. I still won't put him on pole, but it'll definitely keep his front row seat a bit more comfortable.
Shizu jumps to P2.
Shizu, but I believe if Sanjay can keep it together here, he will be pushed down under space. Ooh, let's see how tight he can keep it there very nicely. One more corner for the Williams driver. And Mazda P2, but Sunji pushes him down a tenth up on Mazda. Still 2 and a bit tenths to the Haas. Now Rumrat, I watched him in Division 5 last season. He was definitely one of those drivers that you were talking about earlier. He definitely had the pace. I'd say on just pace alone, he might be Div 2 or Div 1 material. He just seems to always have that mistake in him in the race, or just bad strategy sometimes, but the raw
just
pace
luck,
is,
you know?
Just luck, yeah. But he definitely has that raw pace there. Is 2 tenths up with 5 minutes to go. That's a very nice cushion for him. Now, who else is here?
Watching our reserve, Wilco, who obviously subbed into Div 4 yesterday, managed to put a P6 there. He's just not managing to hook a lap together. He could probably jump to be sort of in that P10 area. If he gets that perfect lap, he can knock about a second off his lap, but he's just not hooking it up at the moment.
Here we have Tez about to go on his hot lap as well.
I think you've got Civic hot on the back straight.
Yeah, let's see where he is on his Sector 2 time. He is a tenth up on his Sector 2 time, excuse me. But that should move him off a place if he can keep up that kind of improvement through Sector 3 as well.
Very long right-hander. Every lap I lifted yesterday.
It's a bit of a
just sacrifice that little bit of time. Oh, he's diving in.
Was up on his time, but not anymore. It's going to Brad Spitt. Ooh. 2 tenths down on his time. I don't know if...
Maybe Civic just felt like he wasn't up enough and would rather get the extra time on a second run.
Oh, Tez has binned it around turn 11. He's completely spun around.
He's beached, isn't he? Oh no, okay. I saw those front wheels turning backwards and got a bit confused there.
He's just not managed, but it's unfortunate. There, he definitely has a bit of pace to get him up. This Brad Spitt comes into the pits. Let's go on board with Shizu, as he's the highest driver at the moment on an outlap. He's coming through the S's now, and there's a bit of time until he actually gets his hot lap started.
This might get a little bit busy in a minute.
There's a lot of drivers still in the pits, and with 3 minutes left, let's say a minute and a half, you'd want to be going out right about now.
I can see at least 4 or 5 drivers coming out, or at least their garages are preparing to deploy them. It's quite funny watching them walk out in unison.
But Shizu will be the first of them on a hot lap. He definitely chose the right moment. He has a lot of clean air in front of him and behind him.
Ezra's elected to go for the second push, which is interesting. I did feel like he had enough time to get back, bolt on a fresh set and go again, but a lot of these drivers on outlaps now are going to have to be careful because Tesla's going to be speeding through.
Don't know if that's an Alpine around or if that's just an Alpine letting drivers.
It's an Alpine letting Tez through at the moment. Another little gaggle of slow running cars that Tez is catching up on rapidly.
We go Shizu, who needs 2 tenths, 2 and a bit tenths to get into the top 3 here. I think he has that enough of an improvement as Callum has joined the session to bring us up to 17 drivers.
Got enough time to quickly run it out? I'm not sure he does.
It's about 1:30 for the Braves has retired. It is on track.
The final corner.
Final corner. Ooh, and Stealth as well.
Where's he gone?
That's turn.
Or maybe he's in the garage and realised he didn't have enough time to get out, or did he retire on track there? Because that's a yellow on the big long straight.
Yeah. I think did he retire on track? That's an AI car. Hope it's not.
Well, so I can see from Pathman's on board. It's the Red Bull. Yeah, it's an Alpine retired at the side of the track. Gotta be careful, guys. Make sure all the cars behind you. Well, you can in qualifying if every single car behind you you're 100% certain can't possibly set another lap. But we've not hit 0 yet.
3 and a bit tenths up on his own time. The purple sector 2 as well. That would put him. Where would that put him? That would put him nearly on the front row. Oh. He needs a really good sector 3, and that might put him just in the front row. Remember, that doesn't seem to be being threatened at the moment. Comes around the final corner here. Great lap from the Mercedes driver, no matter where he's placed. P3, oh, so close, 0.05 of a second to, I believe that's a Williams. It is a Williams of Sunji. But he is also on a hot lap himself. It was Metza, I believe. Actually, I think that's Metza that's just down the road from him. It is.
Athens really struggling with the S's. I don't believe we'll see any improvement from them till the end of the session now.
Metza is 100 up or down, sorry, on his own time. So he needs a really good final sector here. He needs about a tenth to try and make up a place. But I don't know if there is enough places in the last sector to actually make that up. It's an Aston Martin, I think. I don't know. There goes Metza, comes across the line, and actually, he does go P2. Great final sector, and Sunji takes pole by 100th of a second. Oh my god. But Rumrat is also improving on his own time, but he invalidates. Oh, Rumrat, no.
Critical timing.
He was improving, Rumrat was improving, and he invalidates it through the penultimate corner, and Sunji has taken pole position here, I believe, unless, no, Shizu is on a warm down, or cool down lap.
Our last one across the line, I believe, is going to be Chimichanga, who I know is a pad player, and honestly, this is probably not going to be their weekend. Normally quite quick, normally very challenging, was on pace. I'm down from Div 2 to Div 3, but this is the kind of pain, because this guy's got me pipped every day of the week on a pad, and he improves by 1,000th.
Sunjay pole, great lap from him, like a final flying lap to just pip it from Rumrat, and Mazda forcing his way into the top 3 as well, and then Civic, just out of nowhere as well, pushed into P4. Brilliant drive from a lot of the Division 3 drivers. They're just, I wouldn't have been able to improve that much on a final flying lap. But here is your qualifying order. We have Sunjay on pole position, Rumrat joining him on the front row, Mazda P3, and Civic P4, Shizu, Lee, Brad Spitt, Patman, Peter Ward, and Tez in the top 10. And then Blackbird, the Braves, Wilco, Chimichanga, Stealth, Herbal, and Callum rounding out the back of the grid. I don't believe Callum was able to set a time for the
Somehow managed to use 2 sets of softs though. Somehow
he managed. I don't know where he found time
Asking
to.
the pit crew to take the tyres on and off.
Yeah.
They count as used now, right?
Now, I don't believe there is any formation lap here as well, as we're going to just wait for the drivers to sit on the grid. Ooh, there is rain. There is rain at the start of the Circuit of the Americas.
So those that were looking at the forecast going, I don't think it'll rain, I don't trust you Codemasters, are now possibly going to be regretting their rear wings.
Now the question is, who brought the right setup?
Indeed.
Yes.
Hold on to your hats, grab your umbrellas, it's going to be an interesting one.
It's your ponchos. The first wet race in Austin of the weekend. Coming at you live from FRS Community.
Right, it's taken all the mystery out of what tyres they start on, right?
Yeah. Ooh, we have 3 lights, 4, 5. And it's lights out, and away we go here. As Sunji does get quite a good start off the start of as lights out, but here's Mazda coming off the inside of him. Oh, Sunji's dropping down the other bit, and that's an Aston Martin gone around at the first corner. No damage taken, it seems. No huge shambles.
Whoa, McLaren getting squeezed there of Tez.
Oh, Sunji's spun around. Sunji is completely spun around. And, oh, he's dropped down to the very back of the grid there. Not what you want to see from your pole sitter. Mazda going very slowly there through the S's. You have to take those so careful in the wet. Oh,
there's a massive gag around P7 down.
Around as well.
Everyone's going to be really struggling to find the traction here.
Yeah, with cold tyres as well. Oh, that's a Red Bull. He's going to take 2 Aston Martins and 1. Oh, he took one of them. Would he take both of them? He does take both of them. Oh, but who's that? That's Civic coming back at him. Down
Considering
towards...
Civic was backwards, sideways across turn 1, he has done amazingly to recover to P7.
But Blackbird, I think, has successfully done both the Aston Martins in one move.
Oh, Civic's deep, he's locked to the front.
Gonna try and get him into turn 12. Oh, Blackbird defending valiantly, but the Aston Martins are not giving it up. Let's go board here with the Aston Martin, actually. Very nicely through there. Oh. Very nice driving there on Blackbird. Oh, and I jinxed it. Blackbird spun around. He spun around right before the triple right-hander, and the Aston Martins go through.
Our Div 4 championship rivals in Tez and Chimichanga from last season are duking at it. They've gone side by side through multiple corners in the last sector.
A bit of touching there as they came through the penultimate corner. They are nearly wheel by side by side as they go through the start finish line. Now, here's your predicted pit stop strategy. It's intermediates to intermediates. Thanks, AWS.
That's a surprise. Hope they didn't charge too much for the AWS instances to calculate that.
Ooh. Peter Ward has gone past Callum there, and Tez has also gone past Callum. And Tez has gone past Peter Ward as well. Oh, but a bit wide there. Hopefully that's not track limits.
Meanwhile, up front, Riprap's right on the back of Mazda now, basically pushing him through the first sector.
Oh,
I don't know whether Mazda had a little bit of a slip through the S's or what, but suddenly...
I was about to say their ERS lights are on, but then I realised it's the rain lights.
The sky looks like it's clearing up literally right now. You can see it getting sort of slowly brighter, so I wonder if we're going to go to dries. In which case...
might be a question of who makes the decision at the right time. We saw earlier Mazda made the decision too early, whereas Gali seemed to make it just right in the we had a wet race in Spa. Oh, great move there by Rumrat there as he pushes the Ferrari wide, but now they're going side by side. He's kind of compromised his run into the long right-hander, and Mazda has held the position for now, but Rumrat is definitely pushing that Ferrari around the track.
So we've got this breakaway group then of the top 5: Mazda, Prath, Shizu, Spit and Braves.
That's someone spun around or had a moment. I think it was Herbal. A bit of a... Got a few places there. The grid seems to be shaking out a bit. It's very hard, I think, to try and make the moves in the wet here. Might be a bit cautious, but Haas is definitely not cautious at all. He is pushing that Ferrari.
I think a lot of people being seemingly caught out by these wet conditions, it's mostly going to be watching for people making mistakes through those S's and taking advantage when you can, and just praying that your car holds onto the track.
Comrade did very, very well through those S's. Kind of, I'm very impressed with that. As they're coming down now, a long run to turn 11. First, oh, that's Erbil spun around. Back. Unfortunate there. Of course, no DRS in wet conditions here. Oh, here we go. He's using the
Jimmy still fighting there.
Let's go board here with Tez while we wait for Rumra to get a bit closer to our leader at the moment.
It does look like Tez is running more downforce than Chimmy in front. He seems to get away in the long straights, and then, well, either that or I know that Tez is doing no traction control and has been struggling with getting the power down, so you might just see some weaknesses of him getting out of the corners.
Blackbird loses the place there to Peter Ward as well. Blackbird's not having a great race, as his first race as the leader of the division. Oh, but he does take it back from Peter Ward. They're going side by side now. Peter Ward will have the better run through the long right-hander now. Seems to be a lot of drivers getting close through the quick corners and then losing it in the straight. So yeah, it does come down to the setup of who has more downforce to get them through. Well, Kota is a very corner-centered track.
I do wonder how much people have put on for fuel as well, because this year's game, unbeknownst to some, is significantly more accurate with your wet weather fuel loads.
Tez is coming right on the back of Chimichanga.
Oh, he's having a little nosy.
Ooh. He's definitely looking. I'd say he'll try and get
possibly
him now
a warning
towards turn 12.
It's looked like this the last couple of laps coming through this corner, and now Chimmy just gets away here, and then he gets away on traction out of this corner as well.
Yeah, Chimmy does get away quite well there. Gap already up to 7/10 down the straight here. Rumrat is getting very close to... Oh no, he's had a bit of a moment. But he's managed to keep it on track and keep it pointing the right way.
How we didn't lose a spot there, I'm not sure. I lost it at that corner yesterday and had to take to the grass, as Shizu is now nosing up his inside.
Ooh, that he is.
Better of it.
It's only a tenth or so down, and Brad Spitt is right behind Shizu as well, and the Braves behind him. There's a bit of a train going on here, but with no DRS, it'll literally just be on pace. And
Easy crunched that sausage curb on the inside of the penultimate corner. That's where all of that time's gone, so Brad should be right on him now.
Come on, Brad Spitt. Prove loser fruit wrong. Show you're a real racing driver. It is getting very close to the back of the Mercedes, though. Ooh, that's the yellow flag in sector 3. Seems to be someone just having a little moment. The Braves with the time penalty.
Got Project Stealth and Callum going side by side into the start of sector. Oh no, okay, they've settled it out. Ignore me. There's nothing to watch it. Oh, apart from Pathman is now right on the back of Project Stealth.
Ooh, there we go. There. So Rumrat desperately trying to claw back that time back to Mazda though. In the wet though, once you have that gap, it's so hard to try and make that time back up. It's like that little moment in that corner gave him a second and a half nearly, but he's cut 2/10 off it just out of nowhere. Let's see, so if he doesn't lose it in this corner again, he seems to keep it going. Very nicely there, right under that second now. He's made up about half a second, I think, in the last lap or two, after that moment. Ooh. Project Stealth is coming very close to the back of Calum. Ooh. A lot of drivers are getting close to an overtake, but don't seem to be committing to the overtake, like, just because of the conditions. Like, you don't want to brake at the wrong point.
Looks like Tez might have a runner. No, doesn't have the drive again.
Yeah. Fortunately, he was only a tenth of the bit behind him there. But he is getting very close. I think he'll have to try and
Project Stealth trying the over-under on Callum. Into sector 1, not making much of it.
Does have a good run, though that spray is coming right at his visor.
I wouldn't like to be doing this in VR.
No, I would not. Look at where we're at. He's now within half a second of Mazda. He's gained a second in the last 2 laps to the lead car. He's still showing his pace, even in the wet.
It does look like this lead 4 has sort of dropped to Braves.
Mm-hmm. And it seems
so
like Erbil's
just dropped it again. Seeing Blackbird stopped, that may well be that some of these drivers are carrying a little bit of damage from that sort of first corner, let's say melee. But we'll see. Does feel very much like we're watching a procession at the moment.
Yeah, not a lot of drivers are daring to make a move. We do have Sanjay within half a second of Pathman in front. If he can just keep it in that 3 seconds gap as well.
I tell you what, D. Lee was sitting quite a way off Civic for a number of laps, and he's now closed by about a second. So I wonder if they're working together and whether there's going to be an orchestrated switch around.
Tez has gone past Chimichanga.
He's got through finally.
Chimichanga, they're going side by side. Chimichanga's got him on the main straight. Yeah, Chimichanga just seems to have that straight line speed. He just gets away so much quicker than the McLaren.
Watching on board with Tez, I can tell he's getting frustrated. Multiple times I've seen him sort of step out from behind the back end of Chimi's car. And you can see in the first sector, he's definitely running more downforce because he is just catching all the time through this first sector. And he's going to have to try to do something different to get past.
And then once you get through turn 10 and it's a bit of there's a straight there and then there's a straight to turn 12, that's when Chimichanga shoots off.
Kaplan's just lost a spot to Senji. I'm not sure whether there was a mistake there or whether they've just been swapping back and forth.
I don't know either, but Pathman is coming back on him. He's right on his gearbox there. Oh, but a bit of a hesitation getting on the throttle there, and Sanjay seems to have kept the position. Oh, but Pathman is catching.
Riprath's run out right back on Madster. He got... Oh, okay, no, it's really difficult. You're trying to watch the intervals dropping or raising to work out where the fights might be. They got to within about 2/10 there, and then just saw him swirling away when I switched to the camera. Has Tez finally managed to make it past?
Oh, let's jump on board with him. He seems to have kept it, but let's see if Chimichanga is right behind him. He might be able to catch him again on the main straight. Oh, Ramrat has lost a few places there. He dropped down to P4.
A little bit too close, probably lost the rear end.
Let's see if Chimichanga can do anything. No, Tez has kept the position down the main straight.
So the question for Tez is there enough room up to the back of D. Lee for him to make up enough space to keep him safe on that back straight? Because that's where he's been losing the time every lap.
Yeah. He needs to put a car between him and Jimmy. That is Lee, who he has in his sights at the moment. Now Shizu is also...
Sorry, Carl.
I was just saying that Shizu is the one within half a second of Matza at the moment.
Yeah. We've got this top 4 now with Ripreth at the back. We're still sort of plodding around with that 7/10 to 3/10 accordion going up and down. Tez is all over D. Lee at the start of the long straight, but I've realised it's probably not downforce related. Chimmy is running on that pad, isn't he? It's going to purely be Tez running no traction control in the wet that is costing him out of the driving zones. And Chimmy's struggles in Sector 1 are purely down to the fact he's on a pad.
And he can get the traction up way earlier and way more easily. But
Tez has knocked 7.5 off his best lap, so he's definitely been bottled up there.
Oh, bit of a contact there between Stelt and Callum.
Just a little love tap.
Just a bit of a love tap. Oh, they are very close to each other. I am liking the very close racing that we're getting in the wet, but I'm just wishing that someone would pull the trigger and go for a bit more of an overtake, but it is dangerous though. I do understand that.
This juggling game, we're going to miss overtakes when they happen because it's when someone makes a mistake and then the delta just disappears instantaneously. Yeah. Brad Spitt's probably our closest fight right now as I watch you switch to him. Perfect timing. As they go through the S's.
The award with the time penalty, unfortunately, there.
Lost your deer at the end of the race, especially if they're running nose to tail like this. Does look like Cheesy's got a good run on Madster out of that corner.
Oh, Chimichanga
has spinned it into the wall.
Oh, is he out? Oh no, he has managed to save it. He is losing places all the time. He's even lost it to his teammate there, slotted in right behind the other Papaya driver. Oh.
The wing is intact, at least visually to us, so hopefully not needing to pit to...
Hopefully not any superficial damage.
I think we caught that right. He went for the overtake in the S's on D. Lee and came off second best.
Or 13th best.
Yuzu. Yep.
I say that
right on the
Mazda
box.
is doing very well to defend this, and like he is losing time to the cars behind him, but he seems to be just keeping them at arm's length. That just, you know, that 5/10 gap. He's used to have that consistently, no matter who's behind him.
He's using his speed in the right places, especially in the wet. It can be very difficult to overtake here. Honestly, that corner in Sector 3, I'm going to get the number right at some point, 10:15, is actually a much more valid overtaking spot rather than just a, let's say, an optimistic lunge in these conditions.
A bit of a shuffle up here. Rumrat has gone down the other... Oh no, he's pitted. We didn't get a little notification from the pit. But Rumrat, the first driver to pit...
Maybe he's been carrying damage.
Yeah, I would imagine on a set of tyres that could easily go the full race length.
Hopefully he's spotted a gap in the field, because otherwise he is just going to get bottled back up.
Where is he coming out? He's coming out into P15 at the moment. He is right on the back of Wilco. Let's see. There.
Ely lost a place to Chimichanga during that.
Yeah, he did go on to some fresh intermediates as well. And change.
Are we going to be wet throughout? Because that sky looked like it shifted.
It does look slightly clearer on the back straight here, as we're with Chimichanga.
But it's not changed from that, and it has continued to rain. I think we might be wet throughout.
Might be wet throughout, which means... Well, it might mean we might have
no Coral's comment, and yes, Coral, I agree. We might be wet throughout. Tez is right in the back of Pathman, and it looks like that is just an orchestrated switch. No team orders at McLaren, just teammates working together.
See, they knew where to change rather than us trying to change in the S's. It worked out. It worked out.
All fun and games.
Brett Spitt has been consistently on the back of that Mercedes as well. And I wouldn't be surprised if he does get past him very soon. Kind of, he is losing a bit of time in the corners though, I am noticing. He's making up a lot of time on that main straight.
If I was in Brad's shoes, I'd just quite happily sit there, recharge my ERS, take advantage of the slipstream. Don't worry too much.
He has Depraves in P4 behind him with a 3-second penalty, so that could be easy podium for him if he does want to just sit here.
Well, you can just sit here until later in the race, you know. Save your tyres, wait for the other guys to box, and maybe try to do a bit of an overcut as they try to get the... Oh, that's a bit closer there from Shizu.
Yes.
You can get the drive down. He did get the drive. Oh, the initial deployment was good, but it looks like maybe Mazda's deploying to defend. Don't know.
He does have the overtake on Shizu at the moment, but he isn't catching Mazda, so I'd say Mazda also had a bit of overtake on. Is it... When it says overtake on the steering wheel, does that mean it's in use or it's not in use?
I genuinely haven't the foggiest. I think it's not on when you've got it orange with the writing, and then when it's green, I believe it's enabled.
Okay, that makes sense.
I think it changes like the HUD does, and it says disable when you've got it enabled.
Okay.
Because it's like a button telling you what the button's going to do rather than a status indicator telling you what it's doing.
Mazda, interesting enough, used a bit of overtake there just through the penultimate corner. And he uses it here up the hill towards turn 1. Now, there's bar top 3, nearly everyone is at least a second behind between the cars. So there is a bit of a recession, as you said earlier, happening here.
Swap for Shizu there through sector 1, but it doesn't cost him too much.
Still within.
You just see the front end understeering away.
Wonder if there will come a time when these tyres start to give way a bit. We are nearly halfway through the race now, so even if these tyres can go the full length, I do expect them to, they do wear down like any other tyre.
How long do you go? You know, because I've not seen. I mean, I guess we could look at Ruprecht's sector times. Hang on, I'm going to check the race director. I want to see what sort of difference we're seeing here.
Yuzu getting within 2/10 there of the Ferrari, but just not enough.
Yeah, like there's not enough of a difference in the lap time between the old Inters and the new Inters. Ruprecht's gone about 2/10 faster than his previous fastest lap on the old Inters, so there's just not enough pace in those new Inters. I guess he is being held up as well. Kind of want to see him in clear air.
Well, he is getting very close to the back of a McLaren there, and you're going side by side with Patman. Oh, bit of a wheel touch there.
He is very fortunate not to hook that McLaren.
Oh, excuse me.
And we've got a car around there.
Looks
like the Callum in the wall.
Oh.
As Project Stealth picks up a 3-second time penalty.
Yeah, a lot of time penalties being given out here. Oh, bit of a
Jimmy
moment there
Changa's
for
pit.
Jimmy Changa has pit. There is Tez gets to pass it off of the race, but I think Rumrat has the line on Patman here. Patman had a really big moment coming out of the penultimate corner. Oh, can Patman defend? Fight. Get the other. Oh, great camera angle there, Cody's. But yes, Rumrat has managed to get that position from Patman, and he's into the points now.
So now we'll start to see Ruprecht's real pace, because he's in a bit of free air now. See whether he improves.
He has 3 seconds to the other McLaren in front of him.
who has just set the fastest lap, and you can see the times tumbling away from the fastest lap holder.
Now, I imagine Shizu might be getting a bit frustrated here and not being able to get past Mazda. He keeps getting within that like 2.5 to 3 tenths, but just never close enough for the overtake. And after most of this race now behind that Ferrari, he'll definitely be itching to just make that move, just lunge for it, chance it. But,
So here's the question: can you remember how long a pit stop is here?
Oh, well, we'll see, because Shizu is actually pitted.
Glorious.
And so is Brad
Because
Spit and
Rupprecht was 25 seconds off at the point of them pitting. Got yellows in sector 2. It looks like Blackbird's around again.
Ooh, not having a good day at the office. Now, let's see. Does Rupprecht make up any places due to the pit
So I'm on board with Rupprecht. He's just coming through the final corner now, so...
I'm on board with him as well. I don't think he will make up any places.
He's made up significant ground, considering that he did pit after a spin, right? I'm not just imagining that.
Yeah, he had a bit of a moment.
He had a little bit of a moment, yeah.
He dropped down to P4 and then pitted a few laps afterward. But
It looks like that traffic has cost him, though.
Yeah, Mazda is a whole 8 seconds now in front of Civic. Now, I believe under wet conditions there's no obligation to do a pit stop or to have 2 different types of tyre. So
There's not, no. So
yeah.
But I think the Inters would explode before they saw the end.
But it all depends on what strategy they're trying to do, as that is, I think, Callum around there.
Yeah, that's the AlphaTauri.
Unfortunately,
It's going facing in the right direction, but it does look like it sans a wing.
Oof.
Oh, no, he's got his wing. It's just the camera angle's dodgy. Apologies.
Blackbird pits as well. As Chimichanga does get past Peter Ward there. Chimichanga having a nice old scrap with a few drivers, but Peter Ward, oh, Barry, they're pushing each other into turn 12.
That's just coming in.
Mazda is pitting. Okay, he's decided to pull the trigger now. Let's see where that puts him in relation to Dr. Shizu.
Very fortunate the AI takes over when you're in the pit lane, because he popped it into neutral as he crossed.
Somebody's not in neutral when he comes out. Alright, as the 2 Alpha Aston Martins do get past him, here comes Project Stealth, who hasn't pitted.
Make it?
I think, oh, he actually makes it in front of Project Stealth.
He's going to fight it, because those warm tyres, I reckon the Alpine will want to...
He is, he's coming right at him, they're going side by side.
Oh, little tap.
Bit of a tap there.
And that's to yields.
As he does yield, he knows that Project Stealth probably has to pit later on in the race, as our top 3 have not pitted yet.
It's worth bearing in mind that Project Stealth is a Division 4 driver and is likely a little bit slower. So they're not going to want to be bottled up behind him, because all it does is it gives Sheezy those chances to attack. As we've got McLaren around its Pathman in Sector 1.
Fortunate for Pathman, I feel like a lot of the drivers are not.
And he has lost his front wing.
Has lost it. Oof. Well, Shizu actually gets past Mazda down towards turn 12 here. Let's go on board with Mazda. Would he try and fight it into the corner? No, he's decided to let Shizu go. That is a very, very good news for the Mercedes driver now. He has 1 pit stop down, fresh tyres, and he's in front of the Ferrari.
So Brad Spit spun.
But Spit has...
Or something, because he just lost two places in a single corner.
Might have just had a bit of a moment. Oh, the Brave is going very slowly in front of Tez there.
Made the overtake, I think.
Let's calm down now a bit after this. The closest Pac-Man is still losing positions with that no front wing. Rumrat with the fastest lap of the race at 1:49.4. Rumrat down in P9. He has a lot of ground to make up to get back onto the top 2 again.
I think that now that he knows where his target is, he's aggressively now like head down, push for it, because he knows what lap times he's got to do to catch up. Whereas previously, I think he was just plugging the laps in, not risking it too much.
Shizu is 2/10 up on his own personal best on these fresh intermediates as well. He is actually losing a tiny bit of time to stealth down the straight there. Let's see if they can get any done here. No DRS, of course, but they will have ERS. A lot more ERS than they would under dry conditions, I'll tell you that much. Oh, Shizu having a bit of a look-see, but oh, very wide. Or not very wide, but very close to the back of the Alpine there.
We've got this train from P3 basically running all the way down to P9 right now.
Yes, a lot of the drivers just put in half a tenth of each other.
It's worth bearing in mind that Tez is the unique car in that situation though, because he has not stopped yet. Nor has Project Stealth.
Project Stealth leading that train with penalties as well.
I wonder whether the Astons at the front are literally just riding these tyres to their death or safety car now.
I mean, they might. I would be banking on a safety car. You know, in the wet. Oh, Project Stealth loses 2 places there. He loses a lot of places.
He's pitted. He's pitted.
Dumb.
I can't brain. I have the dumb.
my brain did not see the little pit words beside it.
You thought it meant someone pit maneuvered someone, as we saw yesterday in Div 4.
Multiple times.
Oh dear.
But I do believe that gives Shizu the net lead of the race, assuming that the Aston Martins will pit at some point.
So remaining to pit, obviously we've got the Astons, we've got Tez, Peter Ward still hasn't stopped, and Callum hasn't stopped.
Yeah.
Gonna have a quick look at Tez's lap times and see how they're comparing to those around him. Obviously he's still in the group. In fact, Tez has been getting progressively faster since lap 12. So either getting more used to the tyres, or getting more used to it being in the wet with no traction control, or maybe just learning from those around him, spotting their braking points and improving.
Yeah. Well, Tez is definitely playing on a show. Let's look at the positions gained for the moment. The Braves up 7 into P5, Tez up 4 into P6 at the moment. Rumrat losing another position there to Brad Spitt. Ooh. Not what Rumrat wants when he's trying to tear through the field to get back into his earlier positions. I think maybe if Rumrat wasn't holding damage earlier, I think he just pitted way too early.
We've got a car spun around in that long right-hander again. Looks like it's Project Stealth.
Project Stealth, yeah.
And his cold tyres. Wilco's coming up fast on him.
These two are also driving together yesterday in Division 4.
Indeed.
I believe they actually placed one after each other, P6 and P7. If I remember, I know where Wilco placed, and I don't really remember.
I think it was P5, P6. I think Stealth was just in front of Wilco.
Oh, that might have been. Ooh, purple sector 1 there from Rumrat, and he's right on the back of Brad Spitt.
You know what? I'm going to abandon you for a second. I'll be right back. I want to go just investigate something.
Go for it.
Down to the pit lane.
Head Kravitz in the pit lane. So, you have to hear my dulcet tones on their own. Rumrat definitely getting a good line here on Brad Spitt, but I don't think he's actually not using any ERS. But oh, will he try and break that a little bit later? He is going to try that inside line, and he pushes the Alfa Romeo quite wide there, I would imagine, but he does take the position. Very risky move there. I would have imagined that a bit of overtake down that back straight would have made that far more far less harder than Rumrat made it to be, but he has gotten the position, and now he has a McLaren in his sights. Now back at the top of the grid. Oh yes, hello.
So would you like to know my super top secret information?
Yes.
14 laps is about 40 to 43% wear on the tyres. Those Astons probably can't go to the end without risking it, but they could roll the dice.
But they could potentially. I think it's after 70%, 75%.
Yeah, 75%.
Yeah, that they start. So if they keep this wear, then that gives them around 80% at the end of the race. So they could potentially just try and get them to the end of the race and just defend like hell.
Well, I mean, we have now got Shizu catching up to the back of D. Lee, so I think it all comes down to his ability to defend like a lion.
We like defending like a lion here in the FRS.
Hopefully not like a pussycat.
Why can I really imagine Crofty saying that?
Well, it was actually I said it at some point. I can't remember. It was in a practice race with Pathman, and then he drove past me and meowed at me.
Brad Spitt is fighting that Haas for that position back. He's actually gotten it back down the back straight, but Ramrat is coming right back at him into turn 12, a lot closer than they were in the previous lap. And
Nice jump in the corner.
Ramrat has got a time penalty.
I know he's got the time penalty for it, but he should have to give that place back.
Ooh.
As far as I'm concerned. Yeah, you get the corner cut warning, you get the corner cut penalty, but that's still leaving the track, gaining a lasting advantage, whether you get the time penalty or not.
Yeah. It's Callum Pitts there. I think he spun a bit earlier. Might have gotten some damage from it. Yeah, Nordy here saying that Lee might, he has a 6-second gap to his teammate, so Lee might just try and hold off Shizu for Civic to get the win, as we have only 8 laps remaining here in the Circuit of the Americas. And you know, if Civic can keep these tires in relatively good nick, then I don't think Shizu is making up that 6-7 second gap as Project Stealth goes around again in the long right-hander. I don't see Shizu making up that gap in 8 laps.
No. I mean, I think they could, honestly, because those tyres are pretty rotten. Especially once you're pushing 80% through them. But,
you'd actually
yeah,
going about
see.
a second a lap quicker. Which
they are in clear air, easily.
And well, then I guess it's how long Lee can keep Shizu behind them. They're less than 2 tenths between them right now.
That grip.
Let's go on board here with the Mercedes driver as he's bearing down as Pac-Man gets the fastest lap outside of the top 10. But oh, Shizu has a very, very good run as he just glides past the Aston Martin. Will the Aston Martin try and break a bit later into turn 12? No. As Shizu does take and keep that position.
I think Shizu took his phone out of his pocket, plugged it in to drain the battery from that as well. The amount of speed he had down that straight.
Very nicely done. And now Mazda is also threatening the back of Lee. And the Braves even. There's a bit of a lot of cars within only a few tenths of each other right there. But 7.5 seconds with 8 laps remaining. That is what Shizu has to make up. Do we think he has the time to do it? Is he actually, he's coming up on the back markers now. I believe that is Herbal. Or mayhaps.
Civic just has to pray the tyres don't explode.
Yeah, that is all Civic needs to do, but he's already lost about 3 tenths going through that first sector. Oh, but he's gained it back already.
So according to the tyre wear numbers I've got, the danger zone will be entered from lap 25.
5. It gives him about 4 laps of 4 laps to try and defend and not puncture those tires.
Bear in mind, it's a sample size of 1. And a safety car, you know, would dramatically alter those numbers, might even make them safe. But
Tez is very close. Oh, and that's Rumrat spun around. I believe there was a bit of contact there with Tez, who was getting very close to the gearbox of the Haas, and that Haas has spun around. He's lost 2 positions there.
See if the McLaren has front wing. McLaren's front wing looks good, but that's no guarantee that there wasn't some form of contact.
Yes. Lee and Mazda has made its way into the podium positions there, getting past the Aston Martin of Lee. But Lee is actually coming back at him. Oh, but Lee
They've
might
both
have
got really compromised lines.
Yeah, Lee might have compromised himself to the Haas of the Braves behind him. Oh, who's going to come out on top in there? I think Lee has lost that position to the Braves, but the Braves does have the time penalty. So if Lee can just keep it relatively close, he will get it as that Callum spun around again through turn 11. A lot of the drivers near the back of the grid are just not having the best time in the wet. A lot of loss of traction and loss of grip. It's really not having a nice time.
So gap's now down to 6.2, 6.1, 6.0.
Yeah, he's gained about a second now.
It does look like Civic's losing the most in Sector 1, which does make sense. Yes, this is where you put the most load on the tyres, and if you're trying to protect them, then you won't lean on them as hard. But we are now down to 5.6 as Callum spins again. I do believe even on reduced, all it takes is 2 cars spun on 2 different sections of the track for it to decide to throw the safety car, but we are approaching that no more safety car shut off.
A few laps remaining where we could have that. So 4 laps, I believe. Another yellow flag, that's Callum again. Oh, not. I think they might have a bit of damage and they're trying to limp their way back to the grid, or maybe just...
He's on soft tyres.
So he is.
He must have been jeffed.
He might have been jeffed. That. And
Can he get done for speeding? Oh, salt in the wound.
Oh, very... I don't even have the words for that. That's just so unfortunate for Callum to be jeffed, and yeah, he's on intermediates now, coming out of the pit lane, and he's called it quits. But I believe that car might make its way back onto track.
It will, up into Sector 1 just as we've got a pack steaming through.
Oh.
It's unfortunate. Probably going to be Shizu who will see it first. Yeah,
Yep.
Shizu sees it.
Shizu does manage to get...
He's going to be parked perfectly on the apex for Mazda.
On the board here with the Braves. Yellow flags in Sector 1 there. Oh. Thankfully does not seem to be hindering anyone. Oh, Brad Pitt and Lee are having a bit of a tussle. Tez with a time penalty. Not what you want this close to the end of the race. Because Lee has really dropped down, like those tires must be
Tez has a problem.
Oh, Civic has spun, I think. It just went from about 3 seconds to Shizu in the lead. I think Civic had a bit of a moment down towards turn 11.
Check his back tyre. If we can get the camera angle. No, he's okay, he's okay. Tyres are intact.
But that does mean Shizu has taken the lead of the race and is already a second and a half up going through turns 12. And I think if Shizu...
I'm not sure why Tez dropped back like that. It might be that when he got that final corner cut warning, he had an illegal overtake thing come up. Because that was a really strange little episode through Sector 1 there, where Tez was just sort of sitting at the right hand side of the track going slow.
Yeah, well,
but we do have a new race leader.
We do have a new race leader, and I would say, bar a huge incident, and Shizu just keeping it like nice and simple, he might just have this in the bag. But there is 5 laps remaining. And Mazda is probably going to be the next one past Civic, which might have to defend against Mazda, but might have too little too late for Mazda to
I honestly think the Astons have rolled it too hard here. I think they're going to lose those rear tyres before the end. Both of them.
Well, Civic has kept it on the top 2 for the moment.
Looks like Brad spits round into Sector 1, and we've got a yellow flag in Sector 3 at the same time.
Just Sector 1 at the moment. Sector 3 has disappeared.
I think Tez is possibly a little bit annoyed with D. Lee. That was a very elbows out overtake, and D. Lee has ended up off the circuit in Sector 1.
Multiple yellow flags coming out now. But
They were side by side. Tez was okay with taking his line, but yeah, D. Lee just ran out of road.
he's now 5 seconds behind Tez. So yeah, definitely have a bit of a moment there. Herbal has also called it quits there. There'll be another car coming out of the pit lane through the AI.
At least there's no cars coming. He should be able. That car should automatically pull itself off without too much hassle. Civic has managed to surprisingly stay within touch of Shizu, and Madster is struggling under power. I've just seen him have a couple of little swappers, little twitches.
But there's 14 laps difference between Civic's and Mazda's tyres, but Mazda just can't get that
Double yellows.
double yellows. That is an Alpine and
Pathman,
I think, yeah.
Oh, that's the Alpine that was retired already, and
yes.
Pathman had spun as well.
But the Braves is also very close to Meta, only a second, or not even a second. He seems to be losing a lot of time in the straights though, but he's gaining a lot in the S's and corners.
But either Civic is the tyre whisperer, or we're about to see a bit of a Kevlar shower on Madster's screen. Because we are now in the danger zone.
Danger zone.
I wasn't going to attempt it.
Yeah, Nordy giving us a bit of information here. There's a few weird illegal overtake messages there. So that might have been why Tez let a few cars through. Pathman spins again there in the penultimate corner. Let's see, will he limp it back to... no, he's still going. Well done. There.
3 laps to go. There's every chance that a few cars will retire.
Yes.
Peterwell picks up 3 seconds. Brad spits around again in the first sector.
You'll see there from Spit, he's had a great race before this. And Mazda is within that 1 second gap now of Civic.
No DRS though, of course. Still wet.
Yes. An entirely wet race in Kota here. Quite rare, I think. And Mumrat has left the session in P6.
That's probably a crash. He's had a few of them because he is running the game on a computer not built for it. But that does mean that his car is not going to put up, well, he might put up more of a fight against Tez. You don't know with the AI in 2022.
He's getting very close already to the back of him.
But now he's got AI traction. I mean, I say AI traction, it's been made better in the most recent patch, but we'll see.
Oh, okay, let's jump aboard here with Mazda, who's getting very close to Civic through the S's here. It's only 0.3 of a second now, the gap. Civic has done very well. I no matter where he places, even if those tires puncture in the last lap, I'm quite impressed with the Aston Martin today.
Long stint. Peter Ward's dropping down the order a bit.
Take a look at the penalties here. The Braves with 3 seconds, but he does have a 7-second gap to...
Looks like Civic's trying to let Madster go.
It does look like that. He might just be trying
Pathman
to...
loses it again.
Oh. Mazda doesn't take the offer.
Just don't think he had the power.
Zero stop strategy from the Alpha.
Is he going to try a dive?
Sorry.
See, I do think in these wet conditions...
Pathman has retired from the pits.
But you don't blame him, really.
Pits, no.
Two
Not
laps
a good day at the office for him.
as long as that car stops and doesn't drift back out, because if it drifts back out, its timing will be right around when our leaders are coming through. By that I mean not our leaders, sorry, Mazda and Civic. I reckon he's going to join the track just as they're coming up to the corner, if my calculations are correct. Yep, here he comes.
Ooh, Shizu just about gets around them.
Hopefully he's ghosted. He's a lapped car, but do they have ghosting in this div?
I do not know actually, but he is letting the cars through. Mazda is still within 4/10 of Civic, so I don't think it impeded them that much. Mazda is just gaining as Remrat rejoins. Only lost the one position to Tez there. But
one position in the sprinting of time.
Somehow
what
Civic...
penalties are all the guys carrying? Okay. Oh, Civic just picked up 3 seconds of time penalties. I've just asked what penalties are the guys carrying. So, which view is it?
That I think is that. That's Mazda on the front row at least.
Yeah, so everyone's carrying 3 seconds. Yeah.
Just Mazda doesn't seem that bothered now. He knows he's going to get.
I think he just wants to see if they puncture. He's just doing research now. Everyone, hello.
Civic goes quite wide into turn 12. Now, Civic does have to watch out for the Braves, because now that they have a 3-second time penalty, the Braves could just try and nick them at the line here. He is right on
as well.
Ferrari's ass. So he's actually... Remember, the Braves has actually made the move on Mazda.
I think Mazda will be very happy about that. Don't touch it. I mean, both of them in front have got 3 seconds.
They both have 3 seconds, yeah.
De Brave's someone with a lot more to lose by not finishing in front of Civic. Is he going to push it?
Well, as we come around the corner here, is this our penultimate lap? Or no, this is our final lap. This is our final lap of the race.
3 runners, D-Lee, Tez and Civic, still with the potential for a pop-in.
As D-Lee gets passed there by Sungji. Very nice.
Contact into the barrier.
Oh, by who?
D-Lee got D-Lee and Sungji going side by side through that final 2 corners. End up collecting each other and promotes Project Stealth up to P8.
Oh, in the second to last lap for those two. Oh, you hate to see it. That's Lee out of the points entirely.
Braves is charging Civic now, go up to P3.
The Braves has just decided to say fuck it in this final 2 laps, and he does make the move.
He's De Braves on the brake.
He is very De Braves on the brake. But
he has no battery left to defend.
And here comes Civic down towards turn 12 very nicely. Ooh.
It looks like Mazda just came out.
I don't know if that was a legal defending move by Civic, but that's for the stewards to say, not me.
It did look like from the onboard of Mazda that it was pretty on the line there.
The Braves dives down the inside.
Exactly where I said you should, but also Civic there having to go off track. But is it just an eye for an eye at this point from De Braves?
I think Shizu is now about to come around the final corner and take the win in the wet in Kota in the not so sunny Austin, Texas, and he does win the race. Now let's see how the rest of the podium positions come out. Oh, the Braves and Mazda up into P2. The Braves does take the last podium position in P3, and Civic a very, very respectable P4 on that no-stop strategy.
I think it's worth watching P11, P10 because we've got Wilco right up behind Peter Ward with some penalties that might shift things around. Equally got Sengji running right behind Project Stealth.
To stay within that 3 seconds. He's only 2/10. The gap at the moment, Wilco might just sneak into the points. And he does! He takes that P10 by 4/10 of a second in the end.
A reserve coming in, subbing into Div 4, grabs some points, subs into Div 3, grabs a point.
Very nicely
Pretty successful weekend, I'd say.
Yes. And here is your race winner now, Shizu. Just really good all race. I don't think he had any mistakes. Mazda also no mistakes, bar maybe just pitting that bit too late, I would say. More responding to the cars in front of him than anything. But P2 in the end, very nicely done there. Let's look at the positions gained as well. The Braves takes off at P3, gaining 9 positions. Civic actually has a net of 0, and Chimichanga 9 positions up as well. A lot of positions gained there at the front of the grid.
Who's your driver of the day?
Ooh. You know what? For today, I would give that to the Braves. 9 places up. He kept it with the pack, with the front of the pack for most of the race, and then 2 really well done overtakes in the last 2 laps, and he gets a podium out of it. I'm really impressed with him, so I would say the Braves.
Good. For me, I actually boringly agree with the game. Purely because I know he's driving on pad, and I know how much I hated Sector 1 on pad. Chimmy to put it where he's put it, P5 or P6, can't remember exactly. That's on a pad. That's impressive. But obviously, credit to our winner. No mistakes all race.
No, Shizu just kept it nice and easy. Mazda, he'll be annoyed to not get that top step to the podium. He probably thought he could have gotten it today, but I think he'll be happy with P2. Now, I wonder what that does for our Drivers' Championship. A lot of the drivers at the top of the grid not doing so well, or top of the table not doing so well today. I would say maybe Mazda is probably the biggest gainer at the moment.
I don't think anyone's overtaken Gali at the top of the table yet.
No.
I believe what that's done is it'll have promoted Mazda to P. It's either going to be P2 or P3 on the table.
Yeah, that's about what I expected. Yeah. So, do we get? Is it going to bring us straight back to the lobby, or can I show the finishing order? We don't get the finishing order.
Spent too much time chatting, mate.
Too much time on the podium.
Oh dear.
But you know what? Very nice race all round. I had a lot of fun.
In the middle it got a little bit quiet, but I'm glad the guys started to duke it out towards the end. It was just one of those, edge of your seat, but nothing's happening, if that makes sense.
Yeah, just waiting for something to happen. And I think the lads, once they got a bit more comfortable with the wet, more comfortable with when to brake, when to bring up the traction control, they definitely they got their elbows out a bit towards the end. Now, I believe FRS Motorsports is showing Div 2 at the moment, so how about we raid
across?
So I'll say thank you, Space Ghost, for joining me again.
Not a problem. Until next week, my squid-based friend.
And thank you to everyone who joined us. We'll bring you over to Division 2